Okay, we start our class today with Al-Fatihah. Okay, nice seeing you, Amira and Izati. Thank you. The rest. Yes, Saida. Okay. See, I remember your name.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, so yes, Hanis also. Today we are going to discuss this topic. Okay, because the course is introducing you to the media industry, so we need to be looking at the historical development of the media. Okay, so don't worry, we're not going to go into the old history. Okay, but basically we're going to start with the internet because the internet totally changed the media industry. All right, but this is also a challenge to me because I need to be talking about the history of the internet to the internet generation. Okay, because most of you, I think, know more about how to use the internet and the capabilities of the internet than I do. Okay, but for this class, especially for this topic, we will go in general to look at how the internet actually came about. Okay. So why do we have to learn this? So we can understand the context of the internet within the industry. In the coming chapters, we will still be discussing about the development of the internet. Okay, so in this sense, what you will be able to do is after this, you know more than just using the internet. You know the history of the internet and how it has changed. Okay, because the development of the internet is very, very rapid, but we don't realize it. Okay, you don't realize that the Google you used last week is different from the Google you use this week. Okay, there is always a new add-ons, okay, a new development. All right. Okay, so, oh yes, before we start, let's start with Al-Fatihah. Okay. Okay, so history class, so you must be using a lot of your imagination, okay? Now let's talk about the origin of the internet. Okay, where did the internet come from? And what is the internet? Okay, the internet is a short form for internetworking. Okay, you know what's network? A network is where computers are connected to one another. All right, so when you're at home or in school, there's one network. Okay, but internet is networks of networks. That means all of these computers all over the world are connected to one another. But before we talk about the network, let's talk about computers. What are computers? Okay, computers are any machines that can compute. Okay, that means you put in data, the machine will process and give you back the result. Okay, so computers are not just desktop or laptops. It can be any machine. Okay, so if you think about it, okay, what is the basic other examples of a computer? What is a simple computer? Can you think of any machines that is actually a computer?
Calculator.
Microwave.
Yes, very good. Calculator is the simplest one. You key in, right? You put in data 1 plus 1, they calculate and give you the result. The same thing with cash registers. Okay, so they are all siblings, okay? A family of computers. Okay? So the history of computer is much longer than the history of the internet, because the computer is just the machine, okay, while the internet is the networking. This is something that we must be able to differentiate. In the earliest, you know, computers used to be big machines. Okay, the early computers are so big that they are sometimes 3-story high, even bigger than your kuliah maybe. All right, why is it so big? Because it's a new technology, right? It's not defined just yet. And who used to use computers? Obviously not everyday people. Okay? Yes, Aziz? Oh, okay. Aziz, is supposed to be your surprise face?
Yes, madam.
Okay, very surprised. Very good. Okay, yes, it was 3-story. Okay, your computer. Okay, so if you want to press A, and then you want to spell, and then you need to run up to press enter. Okay, 3-story high. Okay, of course it's not like that, right? Yes, my point is, okay, computers were mostly used by businesses, organizations, not everyday people. Okay, and one of the earliest companies that sell and produce computers is what? Who knows? Which company? One of the most popular today is IBM.
Microsoft.
IBM.
Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, Microsoft is still quite new, Aziz. Okay, the early one that produced the machine
IBM.
is IBM. Have you heard of IBM? Okay, IBM used to be very popular. Nowadays, not so popular because they're at the back end, okay, producing the machines. Okay, IBM is called International Business Machine. Okay, so they produce these machines to help businesses, organizations to compute data and information. Okay, but because it's such a big, expensive, okay, product, it's not popular. Computers was not popular. Okay, but when did we come up with the idea of the internet? Okay, so this idea, like most media, you should know that most media like telegraph, radio, okay, even TV was invented for the purpose of what? For the purpose of what? Why did they invent radio, telegraph? Of course, to send information.
Communication.
Yes, to communicate. Very good. But the main purpose is for military.
Yeah.
Okay, it's for the military to use it, to conquer other people. Because why? Information is as powerful as the weapons. Okay, so the military always think of new ways, okay, to make sure that they can secure information and transmit information as fast as they can. Okay, so telegraph, radio, even TV was first used in the military. All right, and then during the Cold War, you know what's the Cold War? Okay, so we had 2 world wars. I mean, in modern times, okay, 2 world wars are physical wars, right? Okay, we shoot each other. But after that, it was the Cold War. The Cold War between whom?
Between America and Russia.
Yes, between America.
It was a war of spies, I think.
Sorry, Ismail.
War of spies.
Yes, okay, the war of power, mostly between capitalism and what? Cold War. Communism. Okay, so why do we have to know this? So you understand the context of why they established the internet. Okay, so during the Cold War, it's not really about a war of physicals, it's war of ideology. All right, and information was key. Okay, if you see a lot of old American movies, they always have spy films, right? And the spies, why do they need spies? S-P-Y, not S-P-I-C-E, spy.
I think they want to get the information from the enemy.
Okay, they want information. America wants to know what Russia is doing. Russia wants to know the nuclear bomb in US is ready or not. So they send spies. Spies to get information. And during the Cold War, there's a lot of spies. Everybody is sending spy. You don't know who to trust, and you don't know how to maintain the what we call it information. Okay, so the Americans were thinking, okay, how do we protect our information? Okay, if we keep all our information written in a book, the spy might find it. Okay, or if we put it in a book or if we record it and we guard it, maybe the place can get bombed. You know, maybe they keep all the information at the Pentagon, you know, the center of the military in the US, in the Pentagon or in the White House. Okay, somebody can bomb that place. Okay, so how do we keep the information safe? Now, how do you think they keep the information safe? Okay, now, Ismail, if you have a lot of money, what do you do with that money? Other than shopping?
Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get some hards to save my data.
Save money, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of money, then you try to save it.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of you probably save your money with Bank Muamalat or Bank Islam.
No.
Why you save there? Because your money is little. Okay, you got.
I have an AM bank, madam.
How much money you have? Okay.
Okay.
But okay, yes, you have little money. Okay, never mind. Alright, but if you have lots of money, rich people, they don't usually keep their money in the bank. I mean, in one bank. They will keep their money in a lot of banks.
Yeah, just like they are distributing the money so they can't trace their money.
Yes, you cut the risk. Okay, so most of you keep your money Bank Muamalat or under your pillow. Okay, but rich people will distribute the money. Why? Because you want to cut the risk. At least if one bank goes bankrupt or something bad happen, your money is still safe in other places. Okay, so this is like, and also a life advice from all of you, for all of you, right? Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. That's what they say. All right, it's not just about money and everything else, right? You must diversify. Okay, so the same thing. Okay, they were thinking, okay, we must protect our information. We cannot keep it in one place. Okay, so this is when they started the idea of creating a network. So this idea was being executed by the Advanced Research Project Agency. Okay, ARPANET or ARPA, A-R-P-A. Okay, it's like a very high spy movie kind of term, right? Advanced Research Project Agency. Okay, so this agency was set up to identify ways, okay, to better manage information. And they discovered that the best way is by creating a network. You know what it means by a network? All right. Can I draw here? Can you see? Okay, now this is the Pentagon. Okay, a very ugly Pentagon. Okay, so this is where US keeps all their information. But now you want to make sure that the information is safe. So what do? You distribute. So you distribute some information here, some information here, some information there, here and there. All right, but that's not a pretty sight. Okay, so what they say is we must connect all of this information. Can you get what I'm saying? That means this person who's here can get information from here, from here, from here. And if somebody dies here, you still get information from these places. You get what I'm saying? So
yes,
it's easy to protect information and to make sure the information is distributed. Okay, so that's why they created the ARPANET for the military. Very simple but very smart, isn't it? Right? Okay, so the ARPANET, here, was used by the military. And then they discovered if we just keep information just among us military, we're still limiting. So they started to create networks that connect to other networks. That means the military's network can be connected to, for example, a university's network. So they can get access to more information. Okay, so ARPANET initially is actually an intranet. You know what's intranet? Intranet is within, intra. So this is within the military only. One company, they communicate with each other, it's an intranet. Okay? Like I ta'alim, I ma'alum, I what else you have? I all cannot work, right? Okay? Most of the time cannot work, especially during exam. Okay? So all of those are intranet because it's within one system. They connect all of the information in UIA. Okay? So in these early times, in the 60s and 70s, okay, only big organizations, big businesses, militaries, governments, universities, they have their own intranet. Can you follow? So they have their own system, they manage their system and information. Okay. But intranet alone is very limited. Why is it limited? Then you limit to yourself only, get information for yourself only. Okay. So they needed, okay, so this is where you see the development from intranet to internet. Okay. What is intranet just now? Within one system. Internet is when a lot of intranets are connected to one another. Can you follow? Right? So how did they make this? How did they come up with the internet? So the guy, okay, is Tim Berners-Lee. Okay, you can Google him up. He is even more important than Jeff Bezos, okay, or Mark Zuckerberg, but he is not popular. Okay, so Mr. Tim Berners-Lee is the guy who created the internet or the World Wide Web. And this time it's not merely for military. Okay, because Sir, he is now a Sir Tim says, okay, we must make sure that we already have this technology, that everybody benefits from the technology. Initially, intranet only benefits big corporations, rich people, military. So how can we allow everyday people access to information? So he says we must create an internet where all of the computers in the world are connected to one another. How did he do that? He created the TCP/IP, Transfer Control Protocol, and the Internet Protocol. What is this TCP/IP? It's actually the language used by the computers. Initially, in the intranet, you know, the military, okay, the ARPANET, they probably use a French language. Okay, the university use Arab language. So they cannot communicate with one another. Language here, I mean how the computer communicate with one another. Okay, all right. But Berners-Lee created a language or a protocol, TCP/IP, that allow all the computers in the world to get connected. Can you see how big this is? That now every computer in the world can understand one another. That when I send information, okay, a computer in Sweden or a computer in Norway can understand what it means. Okay, so no longer is it restricted. Okay, and at the same time also during this time, people started to create, Ray Tomlinson, he works for ARPANET, he created the email. Okay, and this email was actually a fun thing for him. It was not created because he was asked to. He created it as a hobby. He was playing messaging with his friends and say, never mind lah, let's create email. Okay, and as you will see later, and that most of the invention when it comes to internet are incidental. Okay, they didn't plan for it. Okay, so going back to Berners-Lee, okay, what is important is that now everyone's computer is connected. It has become a WWW. What is WWW?
World Wide Web.
World Wide Web. Can you see first is network, ARPANET for military, but now it is a World Wide Web. Okay, why is it called a World Wide Web? Because all of the computers are connected like a spider web. You know what it means by a spider web? Because I have no screen, I don't know how to draw on screen. So spider web looks like what? Like this, right? Something like that. This is a very weird web, okay? But there's a lot of link. The point is, why is it called a web? Okay, it's because each link, once it's broken, will not affect another link. Can you understand or not? Okay, if one link is broken, it would not affect another link. So now it is called World Wide Web, where everybody is invited. Okay. But of course, during these early years also, okay, this was probably in the 80s and in the 80s, okay. Not all computers or everyone can use the internet, although their computers are connected, because they still need to know some kind of programming, okay, technical language, okay, and they don't know how to get into the World Wide Web, okay. And I'm sure you all have heard of www, but you are not sure what it is. So World Wide Web is this place you go to, okay. It's like the access to the internet. That is why your what we call it, URL, okay, your resource locator, right? Your address starts with www. That means it's going into the internet, the World Wide Web, okay. Now I want to ask you, right, okay, if I were to give you, okay, a laptop lah, and the laptop is empty, the what we call it, the desktop is empty, do you know how to go into the internet? How to go to the internet? Do you know how to go to the internet? Huh? It's the most expensive laptop, but there's nothing on the screen. Only the what we call it, start button. How to go into the internet? So most people like us, okay, we are just users. All right. So what do you do to go to the internet? Every time you go to the internet, you click straight away, right? You click what? Google Chrome. What do you click? What else do you click? Safari.
Safari.
Okay. So what is Chrome and Safari? So Chrome and Safari is a browser. Okay. So Berners-Lee also created browser. He's very smart. Okay. He say he has created this World Wide Web where he wants you to come in. But then he realized you cannot come in because you don't know how to come in. So what did he do? He created the browser. So the browser is like the door to get into the World Wide Web. Can you understand? All right. So these are sometimes the inventions that we take for granted, right? We take the browsers for granted, not realizing that it's a significant invention. If not, you have to go to the start and go to the settings and go to networking. It becomes really hard. Now, if it was that complex, most people will not be using the internet. So the reason why the internet became so successful is because it's very easy to use. Okay, so they created the browsers. Now, once you click on Chrome, okay, or once you click on Safari, where will it lead you to?
Internet.
Search engine.
To the search engine. Okay, can you imagine if you don't have a search engine? Okay, I give you Chrome. Okay, Izati, go search for banana. How to search for banana if there's no Google, There's no Yahoo, no Bing. How to search? You will need to remember every address. www.banana.com, www.pisang.com, banana in Arab is what? Bananun. Yes, Ismail, what is banana in Arab?
Mouse.
Laus.
Mouse. Meme.
Mouse.
Naam.
Mouse.
What?
Mouse.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Mouse.
Mouse. It's like mouse, but with Z.
Longer.
Yeah. Z.
Okay.
Z. Yeah.
All right.
Mouse.
So point is that, all right, search engine. Okay. Now before this, okay, we talk about World Wide Web. That's World Wide Web, but people still did not use the internet. Why? Because they don't know how to go in. And then they created browsers. So people can go in, but they don't know. Okay, it still becomes hard. All right, so the use of the internet becomes limited until they created the search engine. So search engine, instead of you remembering all the address, you just put in the keywords. Okay? Right, true? So this is what we call as refining the internet. That each of these developments contributed to the increase in the usage and adoption of the internet. Okay? So of course, nowadays, all of you, which search engines do you use?
Google.
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 Do you use anything else other than Google?
Most of the time, Google.
There's something
Yeah,
other than Google. Is there a different alternative to Google?
False cookies.
Huh? Cookies? Okay. So
It's like from
Google.
Vietnam, right?
Sorry, what, Hassan? Aziz?
I mean, the cookies one is like from Vietnam. Like most of Vietnamese, they use that one.
In Vietnam is cookies. Okay, I don't know, probably. All right. So when we say search engines, there's, okay, Aziz. Cookies. Okay, you can try this. Okay, is there a search engine called cookies? Okay, at least most of you have found yourself on Bing. Have you been on Bing? You don't know how you got there, right? Right? You don't know how you got there. What's the first thing you search for on Bing?
Google.
Can. Right? So that's how powerful Google is. You know, you get lost. Oh my God, how to get around? I need Google. They give you another search engine. You search for Google. All right? So, okay, so that is the internet. All right? Now, so that is just the technicals, very simple understanding of how, okay, and why internet became more popular. But it is really in the 1990s, where most of you have not been born yet, all right, that the internet truly grew. Grew in the sense that everyday people can start using and adopt. Okay, traditionally, I've informed you that only the elites, only the techies or governments would use the internet. Everyday people don't use it. Why? Simply because it's hard. Why? Because it takes a lot of work. Okay, you need to know the programming language. Okay, you are the generation that wakes up, okay, or born into the internet. You automatically know how to use the internet. All right? I'm sure your brother and sister even, okay, they're not even 1 year old, they automatically know how to switch on the smartphone, automatically know how to swipe. Why? Because the technology is so much easier. Okay, I am the generation where I had to learn how to switch on the computer. Okay, so that's how old I am, right? So in my time, we had to go to school in standard 1, they tell you how to switch on, how to use the diskette, okay? And to switch on, it's not just press button. There are prompts that you need to, what we call it, use. Okay, they have the addresses you need to memorize. Of course, I did not like the class. Very boring. So that's why Okay, most people did not use computers or technologies at that time. Okay, hold on, yeah. Somebody's at the door. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Sorry just now. So where were we? Is the slide still on?
No, madam.
No. Okay, here. So 1990s, okay? It truly grew during this time because the technology became easier. Okay, people already have search engine, so they need to just search. Okay? But in the 1990s, the internet that people were using is not like the internet you are using now. The internet then was a one-way communication. That means people can only get access of information. They cannot give information. That means most of the time at that time is just people go through websites to read about things, to see images. Okay? So in the 1990s then they also start to realize that there is a business opportunity with the internet. And then Amazon, eBay, okay, were all started to being established in the early 90s. Okay, they started to sell. Amazon started by selling books. The same thing with eBay. And then of course they started to sell pornography. Why do I mention about pornography? Because we're talking about media business, and pornography until today is the most profitable business on the internet. Okay, I'm not asking you to do that business, Aziz. I'm just informing. All right? Okay, this one haram, haram, go to hell if you do this. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so here, okay, now at that time people say, oh, there's a new audience, many people are using the internet, it's time to sell products. Okay, but unfortunately while they start to sell products, not after only a couple of years they experience the .com crash. What is .com? www.amazon.com. Okay, so .com is the commercial address. Okay, crash means what? All these businesses failed except porn. Porn did not fail. Okay, but the other businesses failed. Amazon, eBay. Okay, what else they had at that time? That sell books. A lot of semuanya failed. Why did they fail? Early 2000 .com crash. They failed because they didn't understand the potential of the internet. Because at that time, they thought, okay, that the internet is just like any other medium, just like TV, okay? And also because in the early 2000, the whole system was not yet ready. What do we mean by this? Okay, so Amazon wanted to sell books in the early years. Compared at that time, okay, buying books online, but it's a very boring website. They show you the books. Okay, and it takes 1 week. The earliest is 1 week to get the book. Why? Because the postal are not ready. You don't have the deliveries just yet. Like today, right, there's so many delivery companies. At that time, the other components were not ready. So as a buyer, okay, you find it very difficult to buy online. Okay, might as well you go to the brick and butter shop. Okay, because when you go to the shop, what do you experience? You get to touch the book, you can see the insides of the books, all right? So the idea was, in this time, they saw the internet as just a place to promote their products, and it was not successful. So that's why all of them become bankrupt. Even Amazon. Okay, why do I highlight Amazon? Because today, even though in early 2000 Amazon went bankrupt, today it is the biggest internet company. Okay, the Amazon is actually bigger than Google. Okay, so how did Amazon become successful now when it had failed earlier? We will cover this in the coming topics. Okay. So what I just want to highlight is that in this history of the internet, okay, at first it was not for everyday people and people started to use it, okay, and people wanted to make money from it, but they failed. Okay, why did they fail? Because they don't understand the function of the internet and how the internet works. So how does the internet work? And how come now they are making a lot of money? Because they have learned. And remember, we say that media companies are resilient. Okay, but I will go in that detail later on in other chapters. But one thing you must understand, you must realize is that I mentioned media company. Amazon, eBay are media company. Okay, they don't produce content like TV3, okay, or YouTube, but they are a media company. How come? So we will discuss this later on, okay? Because when we talk about Amazon, does Amazon sell Amazon books or Amazon brand, Amazon clothes? They don't do that, right? They don't produce the product. What are they? They are just the medium. Okay? All right, so that is Amazon for you, internet growth and fall. Okay? But we will discuss that later on. Today is just to highlight, okay, how internet, okay, developed and changed. Okay, the internet changed radio. Today, do you see people, any one of you to go, can you go to a shop and buy a radio now? Do people go to electronic shop and buy radio? Do you see radio now? Okay, that's why I also don't know, your generation. Did you experience having a radio at home?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It's sad, you know, maybe in 2-3 years, the students wouldn't know what I'm talking about. All right, they don't have radio at home. Radio is only in the car. Okay, it used to be we buy hi-fi, we buy radio set. You can get that at the electronic shop. But now you can only get them at the antique shop. Okay, so why? Blame it on the internet. Okay, why don't people buy radio and now? Because they don't need to buy radio. They listen to the radio online. Okay, but in the old days, okay, radio, okay, online radio, you need to stream the audio. Okay, you want to stream. That means what? You know what do we mean by streaming today? Okay, you have is automatic streaming, right? When you switch on YouTube, okay, you can watch as they are streaming the content. But in the old days, you got to wait. Okay, for example, you want to download a song, you cannot listen to it automatically. You have to wait until it finishes downloading. So it takes time. Okay, but of course, the technology then became better, all right? Online radio became more sophisticated, and then the best thing about online radio compared to broadcast radio is that you can have on-demand programming. Okay, traditionally broadcast radio in the old days, okay, one radio program people must listen. You cannot choose what you want to listen to. Okay, but with online, then there's suddenly, okay, it created thousands of new radio stations that are very, very specialized. What do we mean by very specialized? You can have a radio only playing what we call it, classical Indian music. Okay, or you can have a radio that only focuses on what we call it, talk shows. Why? Because with online, it becomes easier. They do not need a lot of platforms. And radio on the internet became also popular because people realized you can start to put advertisements. Okay. Now, the biggest challenge the internet posed on radio and the music industry especially, okay, later on if you are interested or if you have the time, you can Google documentaries, okay, on how the internet really affected the music industry. Okay. Now, you may not experience this again. Okay, in the old days, if you want to listen to songs, we need to buy cassettes. We need to buy compact discs. You know CDs, all right, to listen, okay? In the old days. Okay, teaching this course really makes me feel very old. Okay, because I remember buying cassettes and buying CDs. Okay, so if I want to listen to at that time, who's so popular at that time, Ayo, I don't want to tell lah, if not you know how old I am. Okay, but you have to buy the cassettes and then you can listen to the song. Okay, so cassettes are expensive. Okay, and after that, after cassettes was compact disc, CDs. Okay, even at that time it was already 29 ringgit 90 cents or 30 ringgit, and in the CD you only get 10 songs. Okay, so music was a specialty. Okay, you buy if you really like them. But the internet allowed for file sharing. You imagine suddenly, okay, people are able to share all of their music. Okay, what do we mean by file sharing? In the 90s, this was a big thing. All right, the internet, remember network, right? They can share, computers can share information, and then computers can create database, computers can talk to one another. So what people was doing is that people were uploading their own songs or uploading the music. For example, if I have a CD of Michael Jackson, someone else have a CD of Taylor Swift, they share the songs. File sharing. And this file sharing is all over the world. Okay, it's as if only one person needs to buy Taylor Swift's album and everybody in the world can share. Now, will that kill the music industry? Okay, in the old days, yes, celebrities became very, very angry because suddenly the sales of their music dropped. Why buy when you can listen for free? You guys should know, right? Why buy when you can steal? Listening piracy is stealing, tau? All right? But it's so easy, madam. I'm not stealing, it's just there. Okay? So this truly affected the music industry. Okay? Why are the celebrities angry? Because they're not getting the money they deserve. Because people are not paying to listen to their music anymore. All right? So with this came the issue of copyright and royalties. The celebrities are saying we're not getting the royalties because why? Where everybody is just sharing the music. And this is what we call piracy. Okay, and this is the effect of internet on the music industry. Okay. So, but how come today we're still downloading music? You don't buy albums. All right. Where do you listen to your songs? Oh, I just listen on what we call it, YouTube. Okay, because celebrities, music industry realize they cannot fight the internet. So if you cannot fight them, what do?
I go with them.
Join them.
Okay, so then later on we will learn how the industry tried to work together. Because people are already exposed, they know there's an option to get it for free. No matter what the celebrities say, no matter what they try to do, people will obviously take the cheaper option. There was even times in that 90s, okay, that the celebrities were asking police to go after people because it is stealing. And there have been people who downloaded music for free that got caught and had to pay the saman. But how come they don't do it anymore? Because the police got a lot of other things to do. They cannot go after millions of people that are downloading music. It's not sustainable. Okay? And at that time, one of the example is Napster. Okay? People say Napster is actually the origin of Netflix, okay, of YouTube, because it's the first most popular file sharing website. You can Google Napster. So Napster was again, okay, produced, I forgot what's his name, Sean something. He was only 19. In his college room, he created Napster as a hobby. So what is a Napster? He created one site, a website, using his computer where everyone can come and share whatever they have. Okay? So you imagine everyone in the world sharing their music on Napster. So if you want a song from somebody, definitely you can get it free from Napster. Okay? So here, Napster was the origin, but Napster had to be closed down. Okay? Because why? Because it is piracy. Because Napster was not paying royalties to the celebrities, to the musicians. Okay? But why is Napster prominent? Because it gave the business model, a new business model, based on file sharing. That instead of you paying music company, okay, you just pay like how you pay Spotify today. Okay, or how you pay for Netflix today. You pay very little, right? But you get access to big catalogs of music and movies. The idea came from here, file sharing. Okay? And then, okay, one person helped save the music industry. At this time, okay, in the late 90s, the music industry was about to collapse. Okay, just like traditional radio, they are about to collapse. You know why collapse? Because they cannot compete with the internet. Okay? So somebody saved the music industry. Okay, and that somebody is Steve Jobs. Okay, you know Steve Jobs, right? Okay, Apple. He's not a musician. He does not compose music. Okay, he has nothing to do with music actually. But how did he save the music industry? Okay, by introducing DRM, Digital Rights Management, okay, via iTunes. Okay, so iTunes, what does it offer? It allows people to buy music but for a very, very low price. Remember I told you, right, in the old days, you need to buy the whole CD and it costs you 10 ringgit, 30 ringgit. But now you can just buy one song for only 99 cents. So although you can still get it for free, some people will say, okay lah, I will pay 99 cents. Okay? And on iTunes, there's DRM. That means when you buy the music on iTunes, you can only share it for 2-3 times. After that, you cannot share it anymore. Okay? So Steve Jobs, with his creation, okay, helped save the music industry. So at least now, celebrities can get some kind of royalties. Okay, and then he's very smart because his iTunes is connected to his iPod, iPad, and everything else. So people will buy it together to look cool. Okay? And then there's the voice over internet protocol. So the internet also affected what? Affected telephone companies. Okay? Telephone companies, how? Nowadays, how many of you actually have a phone at home? People don't even buy phones anymore at home, right? Okay? Why? Because we all got our information or call through their data. Okay? Because now not only they are able to share music, they are able to transfer voice via the internet. Okay? And when you use data, then it becomes cheaper. And this again changed the industry. Okay? Actually, why are we talking about all this historical development? It's really to inform you about how this development affected the industry, affected how they do the business. All right? In the old days, you have telecom, you have cellcom, DG. What do they sell? They don't sell data. Okay? They sell time. Okay? It used to be, okay, if you call a person for 30 minutes, the charge will be how much? Okay? But when the internet came, they can no longer sell based on time. Okay? So they used to be telephone companies, but now they are telecommunication companies. Because they cannot sell phone times anymore or sound wave, they are selling their data. You see the different business model? Different business model. They need to change and adapt. Okay, telecom in the old days is a phone company. Okay, but now what do they sell? They sell their data. Okay, it's the same purpose. We still talk, we still communicate, but actually the model has changed. Okay, and why did it change? Internet. Okay, and of course now the internet allows for more content. You don't just speak. Okay, you are able to put video calls, like what we are doing at the moment, conferences. Okay, and many organizations and businesses, they no longer want to buy typical phone or phone lines. You know what's phone lines or not? I don't know whether your home or maybe in your village you can still see the phone line. You know the thing that, and now the phone line is where the birds can rest. Right, you know, in the village, maybe in the village you can still find it. You know, phone poles, and then there's wire on top. They connect from one place to another. That's the old phone connection. Okay, so telecom, TM used to own all of these wires. Okay, so if somebody becomes naughty and cut the wires, no, you cannot call anyone. Okay, but now technology has changed, so they no longer use that kind of technology. They use their data. Phone wires never seen before also, your generation. Huh? No. Oh my God. Okay.
Pernah.
Okay, all right. Yes, where the birds will stay on top. That's where the line. Okay. And not only audio, video on the net. So when video can be transmitted via the internet, which media do you think it affected? Remember just now when they...
TV channels.
TV and what?
Production company.
Making sound.
Film. Yes, production. Remember when they started to transmit sound over the internet, it affected music industry, it affected radio. But now you can transfer video online. So it affected television and the movie industry. And in the earliest, it affected the film industry more than television. Okay? Why? Just because the same logic as file sharing just now. Instead of people just sharing music, they share the films that they have. All right? Okay, I'm not that old. I experienced downloading film in campus, like you are doing right now. But most of you don't have to wait, which is the fun thing. In my time, I need to wait. They download 3 hours, then only you get to watch the movie. Okay, but then they download 1.5 hours, internet connection disconnect, alamak, kena download again. Alright, so I have less dosa than you because I can download less than you. Okay, better for me, I assume. Alright, but you get what I'm saying, alright? We get to download, right? When you get to download free movies, why would you want to go to the cinema and watch movie? Okay, and now, okay, people, you just save it in your desktop. In the old days, we went out to buy CDs. Okay, I don't know whether you've experienced this also. You go to Pasar Malam to buy CDs. Have you seen this when you were small?
Yes.
Right? CDs, yeah, this is the same logic because they download. and it becomes easy to make copies via CDs. Alright, and people will be very proud to show their CD collection. Okay, even though everybody knows they bought it at the Pasar Malam. Okay, CD collection. Okay, 10 ringgit. And towards the end, nowadays people don't sell it anymore. Okay, towards the end of that business model, okay, can 10 ringgit can get 3 CDs some more. So Hollywood used millions of dollars to create big budget movie. Okay, I paid 3 ringgit for the CD. So did it affect the industry? Of course. Okay. The idea of copyright. Okay, and we are stealing, okay, actually the content. And when it comes to TV, all right, TV then after movies, at first TV thought they will survive, but they didn't survive also. All right, because the internet offer new modes of content, short videos and interactive videos. Okay, and there is no limit to what the internet can offer. Okay, if you watch TV, there is limit, right? One channel, one program. Okay, and how many channels? Even if you are on Netflix, okay, Netflix is a different thing altogether. Netflix is the result of these changes. Okay, and then of course YouTube killed it for everybody. Okay, now what is the effect of YouTube? Not only they give you alternative to watching TV, it allows you to create the content. That one we will discuss in more detail later. Okay, when users become content creators, it made it even worse for the industry. Initially, the media industry was affected by the internet because internet allowed file sharing. And after that, the internet allowed for people to create content. Even worse. Okay. Then comes the social network. All right. What is the social network? Actually, it started with blogs. All right. What is a blog? Okay. A blog is the first creation that allowed everyday people to create their own website. Okay. Traditionally, here in the 90s, okay, during the .com crash, who can create content? Only organizations. Only people with big money, they pay other people to create website for them. Okay, but when blogs were created, everyone can create their own website. So what happens when everyone creates their own website? Suddenly there's a myriad of new content. So many content on the internet. Okay, can you imagine, right? It started out, like I said, with browsers. Okay, you have to remember the address of the website about the banana. Why? Because only companies selling bananas will have a website. But now, with blogs, millions of people are writing about different types of experiences with bananas. You get what I'm trying to say? Okay? And then they started to create the social network where people can get to communicate with one another. But of course, all of these are old ones, historical ones, traditional ones. Okay, you don't remember probably Friendster, MySpace. Okay, in the early years, Friendster was for school, usually teenagers. Okay, they find one another and they can text. Okay, and they can share their photos. Okay, it's like a group chat. Okay, Friendster and then MySpace. But why did Facebook became more popular? Okay, and why did Facebook basically kind of kill off all of these older social networks? Okay, because Facebook introduced user-friendly options. It was so much easier to use Facebook. So you can see that everything is connected to the ease of use. Okay? Facebook, when Facebook came, then everybody, and also because the time, I guess, all right? Because when Facebook was first introduced around 2006 to 2008, it's also the time where broadband became more available. The same thing with Wi-Fi. Okay? And because later when you study Facebook business models, Facebook is very adaptive. They are very dynamic. They change. When they realized that people were selling products on Facebook, then they created Facebook business. When they realized people wanted something else, they offer that to the people. Okay? And then Instagram. But of course now, if you notice, all websites are now social networks. They allow people to communicate. Okay? What's a social network? Amazon is partly social network. eBay is partly social network. Why? Because you can communicate. Okay, you can write your review, you can ask for review. Okay, you can talk to the seller. Okay. But of course, even in the early years, we already have the problems with the internet. Okay, what is the main problem with the internet is because there is this term called disembodiment. That means we are not physically there. And we think that we can hide, all right, from behind the screen. Okay, there's the issue of predators. You know what's predators? Okay, they hunt, you know, like tigers, lions, those are predators. Okay, so there are really evil, bad people who's online just to go after people. And not just on children. They just go to, you know, find people and do bad things. Okay, predators. Why is it easy? Because like I said, you can be anyone on the internet. Okay? You may be talking to a dog, you don't know it's a dog. Because behind the screen, okay, you don't know. Okay, so predators. And especially nowadays, okay, those that prey on young children is even more. Because at the moment, we're only talking about, okay, the internet. We talk about the World Wide Web. We haven't even talked about the dark web, for example. That there is another internet that's bigger than what we are using right now. Okay? I'm not going to go into detail because I'm pretty sure you all know already all of this. Okay? Predators online, okay, and then identity theft. This is even more, this is dangerous also. Okay, identity theft may not necessarily mean someone completely becomes you, but they can steal your data, okay, and do things using your name, okay, your credit cards especially, okay, and then the spoofing. What is spoofing? Okay, spoofing is when your computer is being somewhat like hacked by another computer, okay, and they can get access to all of your information. Okay, spoofing. Although there is this ethical issue because businesses do this sometimes, right? With cookies and all, they steal your data. Okay, and now people want data and information because data and information nowadays is very valuable. Okay, spoofing data, they steal your data. How did they know? Okay. How did they know, for example, you really like that particular dress that you've seen only one time on Pop Look or on Fashion Valley? You see that dress one time only. You click one time. But when you're on Facebook, you see the dress. When you're on Instagram, you see the dress. The dress is stalking you. And you can come even to your WhatsApp. Okay, so this is what we mean by somewhat spoofing because they already know, okay, what you like and what you did, what you click. Okay, the only way to solve the problem with the dress is to do what? To buy the dress. Okay, if not, they will follow you. Okay, so that's the problem. And then of course, spam. But nowadays, there's a lot of filters that, you know, that can solve this spam problem. So spam is not a big problem anymore, I think. Okay, but of course you get spammed on WhatsApp. Okay, people selling you products. Your mother spam you with a lot of Quranic verses every morning. Alright, okay, to remind you to pray. Okay. And of course, nowadays we are faced with the issue of fake news. Fake news is a major concern, right? It's not just something that people telling something that is wrong. Fake news has caused a lot of issues, has caused people to fight, has caused people to kill one another. Okay, so this is very dangerous. Okay, just now we mostly talked about the changes that brought by the internet, okay, by the connection, okay. But the devices, okay, the medium itself is also changing. Medium as in I'm saying radio, the radio box, TV, the TV box. Just now we were mostly talking about the way, what we call it, the transportation of the content, file sharing, okay. But today we depend on wireless technology. Okay, it used to be television connected to the socket, right? So you cannot bring the television all over the place. The same thing with radio. But with wireless technology, then media became part of you, right? So that today media is part of you. Everything you do is related to the media. So this, with wireless technology, comes big opportunities for media company. Why is it an opportunity? Because it used to be you only watch TV from 8 to 10. But now you're watching YouTube from 8 in the morning until 10 p.m. at night. More content to sell to you. Right? The idea started with the cellular phone. Okay, in the old days, cellular phone. Okay, now we call it the smartphone. Okay, cellular phone. Okay, if you see the history of phones, it's really fun. Okay, it used to be very, very big. And then there has been different styles, the flip phone. Okay, the 3310, the most powerful phone ever is the 3310. Probably some of you have not experienced it, but you've heard of it because it's a legend. 3310 phone, okay? The legend is 3310 phone. You can, throw the phone to the wall. It will break, but you can assemble it and it will work again. That's 3310. You try to throw your iPhone. Try
It should break.
Okay, Ismail, you try to throw your iPhone to the wall.
No, I'm having Samsung.
You're having Samsung. Throw your Samsung also.
There's a big difference.
Yes, you'd rather throw yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yourself can go to doctor. Samsung cannot.
but I experienced with the 3310. Yeah.
Yeah, but 3310 is a very strong phone.
Yeah.
Okay, and now they have rebranded it, right? They have now selling it, but of course, the only thing you can do with it is text. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's the portable digital assistants. They started to have digital diaries, and then they started to sell pods. Okay, what's pods? This is where Apple started to make money. Apple started to become popular. Before that, nobody was using Apple. People were using Microsoft. Okay, and all other brands, Dell computers. Nobody buy Mac or Apple. Mac and Apple only became more popular in the 2000s, mostly because of its sleekness, because of the trend. It looks pretty. It looks nice. And that's why they say Steve Jobs is more of a businessman than a technical man. Okay, what is a pod? You can buy the pod and download a lot of musics. Okay, music. Okay, so digital right management. Okay, this is what I mentioned just now. Okay, introduced by Steve Jobs. Okay, it allows music to be shared only for a limited number. Okay, so Steve Jobs, or the iPhone, was the ultimate portable device. Okay, it was iPhone. We got to acknowledge it was the first iPhone that was truly the what we call it, more than just a smartphone. It's everything. Okay, it's a converged medium. It is a cell phone, okay, a PDA, a pod, everything. Okay, and Steve Jobs introduced us to apps. Okay, everything comes in the form of apps. Okay. All right, how about video games? Why do we talk about video games? Because usually when we talk about media, we hardly talk about video games. But we got to acknowledge that nowadays, video games is one of the most profitable media business. Okay? So when we talk about video games, we talk about Nolan Bushnell. Okay? So he is the guy, he is like the Steve Jobs of video games. Of course, nowadays he's very old already, okay, not that active, okay. Why do we talk about him? Because he introduced the idea of creating TV consoles. You know, in the old days, how to go games, to play games, you need to go to the arcade. Okay, the arcade, you know, nowadays don't have anymore. Traditionally, school children will go to the arcade, pay 50 cents or get the token, and then you can play with the games. Okay, so that was quite hard. So Bushnell said created, okay, TV consoles that you can play game at home. Okay, and then he's created multiple player. Instead of playing alone, you're playing with other people. Okay, so that's interactive. Okay, so he invented Atari. Okay, Atari was among the first. Okay, so I think Atari, Pac-Man was under Nintendo. Before that was Atari. You know, Pac-Man, okay, is among the earliest. Okay, but among the earliest video game is called Pong. Have you heard about Pong? Before Pac was Pong. Pong is short for ping pong. Now, how boring is that game? Okay, it's just like two-player click, 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 click. It's like ping pong, only on TV screen. Okay, and then of course the technology became more developed. Okay, that's why you have Pac-Man, the ball that is eating the smaller balls. Okay, Pac-Man under Nintendo. But of course, developed and people start to play so many other games. Okay, they played Sonic. Okay, so many lah. I don't know. I'm not a gamer, but most of you, I am sure, okay, know better than me. But what I do know is the changes in the way people play games. This is what we want to look at. Okay, it used to be, like I said, you need to go to the arcade, but now you bring it to television, and now you're playing it on computers. And you can see the development of games, that games today are no longer just looking like Pac-Man eating stuff. It is 3D. It's like real, isn't it, right? And now most of the games have like storylines. It's like you are part of that world. Okay, they have a narrative. Okay? And most of the time you are so involved, you become the first person shooter. Alright? Like that, and you see the point of the gun. It's as if real that you are shooting. Okay, and now they put in visuals and sounds. Okay, so in the classroom, I have shared some videos. If you have the time to watch, you can see the development. Alright? Okay? So the issues when we talk about, okay, the medium itself, okay, nowadays TV sets are no longer becoming, what we call it, significant, because everything is on the small screens. Okay? But there is still issue with copyright. YouTube, okay, when people start to share their own content and they start to use what we call this, remix culture. Okay, combine all content, you don't know which one is the original anymore. Okay, so this relates to copyright issues. And we still have issues with spam. And one thing that we need to talk about is net neutrality. What is net neutrality? Okay, now this has to do with the Western idea of media freedom. Okay, many countries, even in Malaysia, okay, we have signed. You know that actually in Malaysia, the government cannot censor the internet. Okay, because the government has signed, Okay, an agreement will not censor the internet. The same thing all over the world. Okay, the internet is supposed to be a place where it's neutral. Everyone has the chance and ability to share their content, okay, or to say whatever they want to say. On one hand, it is good, and on another hand, it is dangerous. Okay, for example, they are saying, okay, if governments can send messages online, why not terrorist groups? Okay, so that's why you have Al-Qaeda lah, ISIS, they all have their website. Okay, and they all have their Twitter. Okay, imagine, right, they want to kill Americans, but they use Twitter. Okay, so this is the issue with the internet. And because it's becoming problematic, okay, now we see even more corporations, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, are starting to censor content. Okay, they are starting to filter. And now they're filtering misinformation on vaccination. Right, there's a lot of fake news on vaccination, right? Okay. So they're starting to control and filter. Okay. All right, I think that's it for today. Any questions? Okay, very straightforward. Okay, just talking about the history of the internet in general. All right, next week we will discuss Web 2.0, where we will discuss the development in more detail. Okay, anything else? Okay, so if there's nothing else, okay, we end the class today with Tasbih Kafarah and Walas. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Salam.
Good day.
Okay, madam.